Personally, and for group health, I would like to thank Monona Terrace and everyone who works at Monona Terrace for making this happen for our community. It's really amazing. And I sometimes forget how many people that we never ever see are really involved in pulling this off and making it happen. So for everyone who works at Group Health and everyone at Monona Terrace, can we just give them a round of thank yous? Because I was just sitting here and the IT guy came in just to make sure we were okay. I'm like, oh my gosh, so nice. So thank you. And with that, yeah, let's do some yoga core. So finding a comfortable either sitting shape or lying back shape. Taking a moment to catch your breath. Intentionally slow down. And as we find our bodies in space, connecting to the ground and to the earth, gentle reminder that you have total agency over your yoga practice. So if something doesn't feel comfortable, safe, supportive, either physically, energetically, spiritually, mentally, please, 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 please back out. You don't have to give anyone any explanation. So maybe you're at home, in your office, here in real life, real time. You can always come back to this shape or any shape that creates safety and support for you. So as we intentionally let the body slow down, so giving yourself a moment to savor your breath. I was teaching meditation before this class this morning, and we were doing a short check-in, talking about holidays and New Year's and resolutions. And then one person, their plan over the holiday was to celebrate their son's wedding. And the entire meditation over Zoom changed. You could just feel the shift to this place of joy and celebration. And so with all that happens and is going on, the holidays transitioning into a new year, I thought maybe just starting right here, contemplating, feeling how you connect, how you feel joy, what brings you joy, how do you feel joy in your body? Let's take a few moments breathing. Maybe you remember a really special moment in your life that brought you joy, receiving joy. Maybe you did something kind and compassionate that gave someone else joy. Giving ourselves time to feel and recognize a few of those moments. Joy, such a large, expansive feeling. We'll take about 5 breaths. Breathing joy into our bodies, into this physical practice. If you find it helpful, you could put a hand on your chest, heart, and a hand down on your lower belly area. Maybe even just out onto your lower rib cage, and just giving yourself a moment to connect into both hands. Maybe that's more energetic. Maybe you're trying to get the breath a little lower into the ribs. These are places, the chest, the rib cage, we often store and hold tension. So it might also just feel really nice to let go. Almost like your breath could be a deep tissue massage through your chest, through your rib cage. As you let the ground, the earth really support you, you could let go of some tension even deep in your belly. Recognizing the feelings, the residue of the breath behind your navel into your low belly, your low back. And then as you count maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 breaths, we'll take one more full commitment exhale, and then we'll transition onto our backs. So we'll come onto our backs as you transition. If you're sitting, maybe just look around to make sure you're in a really safe spot. I know sometimes, books or cords are outside our area, and if you stretch your arms out to the side, you don't want to spill water or coffee or anything like that. So stretch your arms out, especially if you're at home, right? So, all right, so we're going to come on our backs. We're going to bring our hands up to your pelvic crest. So these 2 bony landmarks on the front of your pelvis. And then we're going to bring your knees right up over your hips. And so proprioceptively feeling your body in space, can you line up your knees over your hips? So the knees, thigh bones, a little more up and down, less at an angle. And then transitioning your hands onto the front of the thigh bones, letting your elbows float up and out just a little bit. We don't want super wingy elbows. So the elbows might feel heavy, and then you can flex your feet and pause to feel your back body on the floor. So back of the skull, shoulders, ribs, hips. And then you're going to start to press into your legs and let your legs draw back. So you're creating some tension energy. And you might feel this or focus a little more even on the back body. So how do you feel underneath your shoulder blades, through your triceps, through your arms, into your legs? And check your breathing. And then let that all relax. And we're going to do it one more time. Okay. So you might visualize yourself doing a chair squat at the wall. Like the floor would be the wall. You would have your feet planted, your angled knees. So knees more at that 90, hands on the thigh bones. And then one more time, you're pulling your knees in towards your chest, and your upper back's going to connect through your tricep, down through your arm into the thigh bone. And you're going to resist that knee lifting up. See if you can keep your ribs drawing down and in. Maybe feel a little bit of navel to spine, and just breathe as natural, normal, authentic as you can. Try not to hold your breath. and shoulders relax, and then we bring everything down to the floor. And then we bring everything down to the floor. And take a few breaths, noticing what that feels like in your body. Remember, you have your own unique feeling experience, so you can feel what you feel, noticing that. 3 breaths. And then let's challenge ourselves just a little more, bringing your knees back up, hands on the thigh bones. So we're going to press into the thigh bones again, flex the feet, create that shape, and kind of check in that you're not going like 110% here. You're pushing and pulling just enough that you're challenged, but not so much that you're exhausted or holding your breath, okay? So that checking in of effort versus ease, okay? Then you're gonna take your right hand over to the left thigh bone. Same idea, you're gonna push your right arm into the left thigh bone, and your right leg and your left arm are gonna come up to the ceiling. So you're gonna stabilize, take your left arm overhead and lower your right leg a little bit. Reach out, heel from fingers, exhale, pull them up. 2 more. Lower, lift with your breath. And then pause, reach the left fingers out of the right heel, back of the hips, back of the ribs, back of the shoulders, heavy. 2 breaths. Limbs come up and we switch sides. So you can come back to both knees bent, come back to that baseline. Left hand to right thigh bone, right arm up, left leg up. Find your baseline and then lengthen right arm. Lower left leg a little bit. Exhale, sweep them up. Going out nice and long and strong as you lower. Exhale. Last one. This third one, hold, stretch and lengthen. And then bring everything up. Let everything bend and bring everything back down to the ground. And catch your breath. Check back in with your body as you come back to constructive rest pose. And then coming a little more full circle all the way back. Remember those feelings you had when you were thinking about joy? Can you bring some joy back into your body? Visualizing joy, feeling joy. And then taking a couple exhales. When you're ready, we're going to roll on over and build tabletop. So we'll start in a tabletop. Gentle reminder, if your wrists are feeling a little funky, tired, your forearms are tired, you can make fists and you can always come down to elbows. If you're at home, you can use a chair or a table, okay? So bringing your hands down, look down at your hands and let your index fingers be pretty parallel. Your thumbs drawing in towards each other. So you're gonna pull your thumbs towards each other and root through your index fingers. And then a little bit like when we were on our backs, feeling your body in space or your shoulders stacked over your elbows and your thigh bones back underneath your hips. Great. Now just make sure you're not locking your elbows as I look around the room in here. Because some of us really locked in the elbow, and we don't talk about this probably enough. So look down, give your elbows a little bend, and you want your elbow lines to be facing in. So it's really easy if you have a lot of shoulder mobility to roll this elbow line out towards the front of the mat. So look down, find some rotation, and have your elbow lines facing in. See how that feels. Breathe for a moment with awareness in your back. Learning how to feel the breath in the back of the ribs. And then a little more core. We're going to pull the hips back a little bit. And then we're going to slide ourselves forward. So you're going to keep grounding, pushing into the ground. Feel like you're pulling your body forward. And then go back to table. Try and resist moving your spine or your rib cage here. So how far can you go back? How far can you pull yourself forward? Really resisting moving your spine. So it's not a cat-cow. We're trying to keep the ribs drawing up. Trying to keep the low back really long. You might feel like you're pushing yourself back and pulling yourself forward. At the same time, connecting, anchoring into the ground floor earth. We'll do 2 more. Remember, you never have to stay with the group. If you want more challenge, you can float your knees off the floor a little bit. That's a lot more challenge. If your wrists are getting really tired, honor that. Remember self-care and rest. We'll do 2 more. Then after those 2 more, downward facing dog. So pressing back, lifting your knees, taking your feet out or in a little bit. Feel your hands nice and strong. And then bend your knees and push your hip creases way back and let your head hang. And just notice where you feel the breath. There's so many places you could feel the breath. Where do you feel the breath? 3 breaths. And then when you feel your next exhale, we'll figure out how to walk your hands and feet together. And slowly come all the way on up to standing. We'll give ourselves time for me not to feel lightheaded. We'll bring our arms down to our sides and just practice standing. Right? Just practice standing, easeful, feeling strong and relaxed, bringing some joy back into your body. Notice your present moment experience for 3 breaths. And then bringing a little more awareness to our lateral lines. So from the outside of your ankle, you have your heel going south. And you can come all the way up through the side body. Most figure this is why they put the seams of our pants here, so we can feel our lateral lines. So follow the seam of your pants all the way up through your hips, into your ribs, maybe taking the arms up. Give yourself a moment to really anchor out, visualizing, feeling a little more of that lateral line. How long can you feel from the crown of your head through your fingertips as your tailbone and your heels anchor you down? Trying to keep your 2 hip points facing a little more straight ahead. You can bend your knees and we'll take a side bend. So bending a little more from the rib cage, side body, less from the neck. We'll reach way up and come on over to the other side. And you're just going side to side here a few times. Less from the neck and more from the abdominal rib area. You might imagine you're holding a beach ball. Next time you come up, it doesn't matter what side, you're gonna fold, you're gonna feel, right? You're folding, and then the wide side's gonna push out. So go ahead and push that opposite hip. So I'm folding to the left. I'm pushing my right hip bone and my right ribs out, trying to keep the hips and shoulders more stacked. Oh my, coming on up and going over to the other side. So then you can push, in my body, the left hip, the left rib cage. And then coming on up. Reach on up, bend your knees, long spines folding forward. Go nice and slow so you can really pay attention to your low back, your hamstrings, back of the legs, all the way down the knees and the calves. Inhale, peel your chest up. With your exhale, fold. Root down, exhale, pull your arms all the way back on up. Create your side bend again. It doesn't matter. Whatever side you automatically go to is perfect. Pull yourself back up. Reaching, reaching, reaching. Come back up, long spines, bend your knees, fold on over. Lift your chest when you're ready. Exhale, this time we'll fold and step back, downward facing dog. So a little bit different here. You can walk your feet out a little bit wider and then look back at your feet. You're going to take your feet over to the right and come on the right pinky to heel and the left big toe to middle arch. Then push your hips back. And then come back on up. Rotate. Left pinky to heel, right big toe to heel. And then back to good old dog. And then exhale, lower down to table. And 3 rounds of cat-cow. So moving through your cat-cow, how can you find curiosity as you move? So maybe asking yourself some questions, right? How does it feel to move through my spine? Where do I feel the breathing in my body as I move through my spine? Where do I feel more tight or more mobile? So when we ask ourselves questions, when we bring curiosity into our practice, we don't have quite as much judgment and it's easier for us to really stay in our bodies. And then maybe cat feels really good. Maybe your cow's feeling really good. Finding a place and taking 2 or 3 breaths, bringing joy back into movement. Bringing joy back into your practice. And then we'll come back to tabletop. You could press back into a child's pose, or you could take a downward facing dog. So assess, how are you feeling? Maybe you want something a little simpler, less work. You go to child's pose. Maybe you want to work your back, shoulders more, have something a little stronger. Go to dog. We'll all take 3 breaths. And then with your exhale, we got to figure out how to come all the way back on up to standing. So you can figure that out. Maybe you walk your feet together. Maybe you just kneel and come on up. Come on up, do one more big mountain stretch and take the arms down. Hanging out again, resting, standing, easy stance. Strong. Feeling a little more ease, you might check back in. Noticing your present moment experience for 3 breaths. And noticing when you feel your next exhale, we'll step your feet wide. So you can face me if you're in the room. You can turn your mat to face me. You can look at one of the walls. If you step your feet wide on the carpet, you'll have to work harder because the carpet is, you know, if you're on carpet, you have to do more core work so you don't fall into the splits, right? So you're gonna have your feet wide. And what is wide? Wide's about as wide as one of your legs. And your left leg's gonna roll in and your right leg's gonna roll out. Hands can come up on your hip points again, okay? And we're gonna breathe. You're gonna follow your breath. Exhale, bend your right knee. Inhale, straighten, just 2 more breaths. So try and follow your breathing, incorporating mind and body and breath. Then when the next time your right knee's bent, pause. Look down, little bit like how we started, come all the way back, bring your right arm onto the outside of your right thigh bone and push. Do you remember when we were in that tabletop and we started? We were pushing into the leg. So see if you can push your right arm into your leg, maybe reconnect to the back shoulder blade down through that back right tricep. Your left arm is going to come forward like a handshake and come up. So then all the way from your left heel to your left hip, through the back ribs and the shoulders, you're going to stretch. You're going to anchor that left heel and pull that left arm and stretch. Good. And then we're going to side bend. You're going to side bend over like you were going to do side angle. And you're going to pull yourself back up. Awesome. Come on over and pull yourself up. One more time. This time, right elbow slides onto your right thigh bone. So you have 2 options here. First option is to keep this left side really lateral and long, more like a side plank, okay? So if it were a side plank, your top left shoulder, right, stacks right over the bottom right shoulder, rib stack, hip stack. You could feel side plank. A little more challenging, maybe different. You're going to bend your right knee a little more. Then you're going to take this left side rib cage and push it up and create more of a side bend. And reach and take 3 breaths. Get into your core and pull yourself all the way on up. And straighten your right leg. Imagine you're on a sheet of ice because it's coming and we don't want to fall. Right leg rolls in, left leg rolls out. Don't fall on your sheet of ice. Heel to heel. Lift your hips. Exhale, bend. Get back, mind, body, breath. Inhale, straighten 2 more times. Next time your left knee's bent, pause. Take your left hand onto your left outer leg, push. Can you feel the upper back left shoulder blade? You can't see your shoulder blade, but can you feel the shoulder blade underneath the shoulder blade, maybe even a little bit into your upper abdominals there on the left side. And then the right arm reaches up. And then pressing into that right heel. Like energetically, your fingers are going all the way through the ceiling. And we do a little side bend, tip, and come back up. Check in with your low back. This time we come over, left elbow comes to the left knee. Option 1, build your side plank shape. Feel a strength through the right side. If you want a little different pose, push those top ribs up. Little side bend, maybe bending the left knee a little deeper. 3 breaths. Feel your strength as you come all the way on up. Steer both legs forward-ish. So knees are a little more over your toes. Little bend in your knee, especially for those of us who like to lock our knees. Long spine, we're gonna tip. So long spine as you tip and come back up, okay? So maybe shoulders go as low as hips. Trying to maintain that idea of neutral spine. The third time you come over, we'll all hold. Okay, so coming over might mean your shoulders come 1 inch. You might come more over, where shoulders get lower with hips. Then tuck your chin to look down. How long can you feel through your spine again? So head lengthening, tailbone reaching back. Could you feel as wide as the room you're in? The length of the room energetically, head, spine, tailbone. Check you're not locking your knees, and then bring the weight a little more forward in the balls of the feet, which will bring you a little more, if not a lot more, into your core, especially that low belly. 2 breaths. And then anchor. Isometrically, meaning, right, if you were on ice, you don't want to do the split. So isometric, we turn on the muscles to pull the legs together. Pull the legs isometrically together to come on up. Left leg rolls back in. Right leg rolls back out. Hands come to your hips. Bend your right knee to your capacity. Pause. Good. Left arm's going to reach forward to come up. How long can you feel from that left heel through the back of the ribs, shoulder, fingers, tipping over to the right side angle? All right, so we're going to take a little fork in the road. You might stay right here in your side angle. You might take your right hand and grab the outside of your right shin. You're going to push your right thigh bone, shin, into your hand arm. If you want more challenge, starting to slowly straighten your right leg a little bit, maybe adding some side bend. So it's a little hybrid side angle, triangle, side bend. Checking in the whole time with how you're feeling. 3 breaths. Ooh, nice and super strong coming up. Right leg rolls in. Left leg rolls out. Sweet, bend your left knee. Anchor. Right arm lifts up. Great. Feel that length through the right side as you start to tip. Left elbow to the left knee. Reach. If you want more challenge, left hand arm on the outside. Push the leg into the arm. Maybe straighten your left leg a little bit. Reach. Side bend. Careful not to lock your front left leg. So if you're really flexible in your left hamstrings, check that you're not blasting out the back of your left knee. There you go. Awesome. 2 breaths. Whoa, super strong. Nice. Step your feet together. Remember that standing, resting place of strength. You come all the way back there. And just resettle, noticing your present moment experience. We'll take 3 breaths. With your next exhale, turning to face the back of your mat. When you're ready, exhale, sweep your arms out to come up. Bend your knees, long, strong spine, fold forward. Build tabletop or downward facing dog. Give yourself 3 breaths in either one of those shapes. If you want more challenge coming forward, straight arm plank. So I'll let you know where we're heading. We're heading down onto your belly. So some of you might want bent arm plank if you know the strength, you know the alignment to get down. You could test yourself in a forearm plank or a straight arm plank. Will take 30 seconds. You can rest down on your belly if you prefer to go all the way down right now into prone mountain. You're all lucky because the clock is working. Because sometimes I'll say, hey, let's do a 30-second plank, and then I'll recognize that the clock's broken. But now I got talking and I stopped looking at the clock. So you think that was 30 seconds? We'll go a few more. You can always come down. We're gonna all end up on our bellies now. How about that? So lowering down. All right, let's stack your forearms underneath your forehead. So it doesn't matter what arm's on top, what arm's on bottom. Tuck your chin, let your forehead come down. See if you can really soften through the tops of the shoulders. Let the chest relax closer, closer, closer to the floor. And give yourself a moment to breathe a little bit through your back. So with each exhale, can you let the top of your chest get a little bit closer to the floor? With each inhale, feeling just a little bit longer from the crown of your head to your toes. Then we anchor through the front of the hips and the pubic bone. And you start to push your top forearm into your bottom forearm. See if you can feel your shoulder blades on your back. Okay, this might be quite challenging for some of us. For reals, I think it took me 10 years to feel my shoulder blades. So try and find your shoulder blades and pin them on your back and then move your spine. So you're going to keep your eyes down and lift your chest like baby cobra and lower down. We'll do a few more. Try to keep your gaze down So stabilize the neck in this version to find more mobility between your shoulder blades. So your shoulder blades stay on your back and you move your spine. Ease versus tension again. Next time you lift the chest, maybe push into the front of the hips and lift the legs. Exhale, lower it all down. Inhale, bring it all up. You want more challenge, chest lifts, legs lift. Less challenge, rest whenever you need to rest. We'll do 4 more. So it's a little variation of locust pose. Great, last one. Yeah, nice. It's nice to see people in the room doing their own variation so you can make it as challenging as you need to keep it interesting for you. And then we'll lower down. We'll breathe again, noticing your own breath experience. Just reminding yourselves that there's no perfect way to do this. There's no right answer. Just kind of feeling out the breath. We'll take 3 breaths. And then we'll slowly roll all the way over onto our back. So you could outstretch your hands if you want. And roll over onto one of your arms. So we're going to come onto your back, do a full body stretch. And from your full body stretch, we'll turn this into a side bend again. So we'll walk your legs over to the left corner of the mat. Keep the opposite right hip down. Keep the right shoulder down and then stretch your arms over to the left. So you're doing like a C curve. We did these standing up and now you're on the floor and taking 3 breaths. And then the legs and the arms go over to the right. Keeping the opposite left hip and shoulder down, 3 breaths. And then we come back to a full body stretch. We're going to draw the knees all the way into the chest. You can rock a little bit side to side. And then letting your feet come back down to the floor. Pausing to come back into your present moment experience. We always take the last couple of minutes for self-care. So learning how to check in with how you're feeling energetically, physically. Giving yourself the last couple of minutes. Maybe you want to do some stretching here. Maybe there's like your favorite stretch that we didn't do. Maybe you want to connect to some stillness and some quiet solitude time to rest and breathe, meditate. You might have found bringing joy into your practice was beneficial. You might take a moment to reconnect to those feelings of joy, of happiness. So each one of us, again, having our own very unique experience, connecting breath with your body. Body, breath, mind. We'll take the last minute, minute and a half here in silence. Coming back to your body, breathing, just giving yourself a moment to feel the sensations of an inhale and feeling the sensations of your exhale. Automatically try not to overthink about it. Just let your body start to move for you. Trusting your body to move. You might draw your knees in, you might start to roll over, you might feel a full body stretch. And then drawing your knees in or not, we'll just slowly feel ourselves roll on over and come on up to sitting. Ah. Thanks everyone online. Thanks everyone in real life. Thanks for making this such a successful program. It's all because of you that we are successful. So thank you so much. So let's clap for each other. Let's clap that it's going to be 2022. And thank you so much. High fives for taking care of yourselves. Thanks everyone. See you in January.